Well, welcome back, DIY car guys and car girls. I feel a little bad about this because I did a lot of stuff off of camera. I was going to show you guys what I did today outside, but let's check out outside and know that it's not going to happen. But I still want to give you guys an update. So yeah, it's like a slushy snow. So obviously, we're not going outside today, so let me close the garage door back up and I'll show you guys inside what I did. Oh, actually, let me take the camera out right here real quick. Yep, helper leaves are off. It did make a difference, and that is what we're talking about today. Gosh darn it, man, I just broke my license plate light. Well, I guess I'll be ordering another one of these. All right, so as you can see, we have the helpers removed. It probably lowered the truck about that much. I didn't really measure it. I kind of eyeballed it, so maybe about as much as the helper leaf is thick is how much it lowered it, because it does sit right here. Okay, y'all, behind me, I actually built my differential, built the leaves, the U-bolts, all that stuff on my S10 so you guys can see exactly how it all comes apart. I even built shims because my S10, the pinion angle was wrong. So I can show you how shims affect your pinion angle so you can correct your pinion angle and how all this stuff explodes apart very easily without me sitting on my back, cursing, getting dirty, and bad lighting. So I think this is gonna be way better than me doing it out there in the garage. I think you're gonna like this. Let's get to it. All right, guys, it's a little crude, but I think it's sufficient for what I'm trying to show you guys. Of course, I didn't build anything else except for what you would have to do to take this guy apart. See, the S10s come with 3 leaves just as the helper, and these are the other 2 leaves that come stock with it. Of course, mine has a slider link or cow tracks, so I built this. Like I said, it's kind of crude, but it definitely will give you the idea of how all this comes apart. So let's get to it. So I first want to show you guys how the shims in mine, because I got my truck with a 9-inch Ford and the guy welded these perches on. It had a horrible angle. So I'll show you where the angle was without these shims. I actually have more than one of these shims right here. So let me go ahead and just hide this real quick. All right, that shim is gone, right? And here's the bolt that goes into your perch. That is also very important. So let's go ahead and just slide this guy down real quick. All right, super easy to do this in 3D. And then let's move our pinion angle. Right here is kind of where you want it. There's a little more math to this than this, but let's just go to this view right here. And I will rotate this to where it's kind of straight on here and how it would line up. So, of course, you would bolt your bolts all the way down, but let's just move it down for right now. And let's put it into position. So basically my pinion angle, if you can see that, was like this, going up like this. And that is what you do not want. You don't want your pinion angle to go up like that. So the way I corrected it was with those shims. Let me go back to the side view. Let's put the shim up right here. So we're just gonna move it into place. And now, oops, this program is being a dick to me today. So now you can see when this guy's bolted down, it has a way better pinion angle. So look at it from the 3-dimension. And of course, this guy right here, when you go to pull this guy apart, this needs to be in your perch because that keeps your perch from sliding, just for reference, that way or that way. You don't want it. That keeps it centered on your leaves right here. So that is very important. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and I'll show you guys what you have to do to these guys, especially mine, when you have slider links or cow tracks or whatever. See, this is where your shock is going to sit. So the first thing I had to do was remove this. But if you have yours like this, a lot of times this is kind of exaggerated, but this guy's going to sit right up against this U-bolt right here, especially when you have a 9-inch. because it widens a lot. So a lot of the stuff for S10s are made for smaller U-bolts right here. So when you put a 9-inch in there, it definitely exaggerates this. And these guys sit more out this way. See what I'm saying? This way right here. So it gets close to where the shock is. And I really wish they had one of these built for a 9-inch, but they don't. So you kind of have to monkey around with this. That is the issues that I've had. So, but it's not too big of a deal, right? So all you do is you loosen this guy up. And as you're loosening it up, this whole guy right here will push this way as you loosen it up. So you loosen up this way, and then your nut will drop right out, right? So that's how you get to these bolts right here. Those guys right there. So then, of course, you want to put a jack under this right here, under this leaf. And the reason why is all this right here, when it's up against your chassis, which is right around here, is loaded. So when these guys come all the way off, you need to put a jack underneath that, put some tension on it. So when these guys come off, it doesn't unload and throw all this stuff down really fast on you. You don't want that. It almost hurt me when I first did that because I wasn't sure how it was back in the day. So don't do that what I did. So after you take that off and that off, those come down, and this guy is going to come down right here. And you take your jack, and you'll have jack stands right here on this guy right here. See right here, you have jack stands. You know what, let's just go ahead and make some crappy jack stands right here. Super simple jack stands. We'll make a cone, and we'll pretend that these guys right here are jack stands, and it is holding it up. It's like it's like an impossible jack stand, right? But you get the idea. It's holding up your differential. And you're going to want to do one side at a time, which is why I didn't add it to this side, because each side is exactly the same. So when this comes down, this right here, and all this will then slide down, right? But usually it's going to be like this. This is going to be, this will slide down too. So if you have a shim, it'll come down with it because that bolt's right on top of it. See that right there? Your shim, you have this bolt right here, and it's round. It'll be round because it goes into the perch right here. See this right here? That's what keeps your perch from sliding around on your leaves. So then you have to take this guy out. And when you take this guy apart, let's go ahead and move this down just a little more. Oops. Move this down. And these guys down. We'll have to put them back on later on, right? So these guys are going to be down here, and this is going to be down here also, right? And your jack is going to be just kind of, your shock is going to be kind of dangling up here on your S10. I didn't put all that because it would take way more time. So when this comes off, then all these two are still connected to the frame of your S10 here and here, right here and right here. So this guy will come down. So then you basically take this, remove it to the side, right? Kind of put it somewhere, you know, you say, ha, you're screwing up my traction, get out of here, right? So then after that, that's pretty much you have removed that, correct? So then we're going to take this, you take a jack, and you're going to put it right here. And well, let's pretend one of these is a jack, right? The impossible pyramid jacks. So I'm just going to duplicate this right here. And you're going to put your jack somewhere right around here. Use a block of wood or whatever. And then you have to jack your leaves up. And you're going to probably jack them up to right around here. But before you do that, I got ahead of myself. You have to re-secure this bolt right here. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but you got to tighten it up. Make sure if you have a shim, make sure it's good and tight on the shim. And this is all secure. So that way when this goes back up, it goes right here into the perch of your differential, right? So say we're just, let me select all these. And we're jacking it up. Oop, I missed one. We're jacking it up, right? You're going to get it to right around here. Now, here's our jack. See, we're jacking it up. Let's just put our jack in the middle here. Safety first, right? With our impalpable jack. So when you get to this point, it's kind of dangling because you're not going to get this guy directly in there. It's going to take a little finagling. So then you're going to take this guy, which I forgot to put holes here. My bad, but pretend there's holes in it. And this is going to go, you're going to take those holes, you're going to put them into there, and then you're going to finger tight and do it quickly. Make sure your jack is secure because you don't want this guy right here unloading and pushing it on your face. So you want to take these guys right here and finger tight them on there. Get them all secure. So that way, if your jack decides to slip, it won't unload and cause some serious injury. Because this is dangerous, guys. I'm going to tell you, this stuff right here, these leaves, when they're loaded up, it's like a bow and arrow, and it will sling stuff on you. So make sure these guys are threaded up pretty good first around your differential right here. So that way, it's not going to go flying anywhere. Now, this part is a little easier said than done. Keep this loose and jack it up, right? You want to take your jack and jack up your leaves. Maybe I should have parented this stuff, but anyways, this nerdy graphic stuff here that I'm doing. So you're going to jack it up a little more, and you want to keep these guys loose right here on your differential, because if you tighten these up too much as you're coming up, and too quickly, it'll throw this alignment of your pin off. Oops, I moved the alignment right here. So this pin has to stay there. Let me just go ahead and set this up so I'm not selecting them all every time. So let's take this, and this, and that, and we will. All right, parent. So now I can just use this. All right, so okay, so taking your jack, you're jacking it up, and this guy is coming up, right? And you slowly take these guys and you screw them in. Now, if you screw this side in more this way, this guy will go kind of this way, right? If you screw these more in this way, up, without those, it will start to go this way. And that kind of helps you finagle that in there. You will have to grab this while it's loose and move it that way or that way. That was kind of exaggerated because the alignments can be all kind of finagled. And you just slowly and surely take this guy right here until it goes right in your perch right here. So if I were to hide this guy right here, that bolt has to be tight to these leaves, which is not in my 3D, but it has to be tight right here. Has to pull both of these together, right? Let me just get this so it looks a little better. There we go. It has to pull both of those together, and it has to go right into that centering mechanism of the perch on your differential. Got that? That is very, very important. Well, this guy just go that way and that way. All types of dumb stuff. You don't want that to happen. Don't do it. So when this is all nice and tight, it'll all be together like this. All nice and tight. It's a little too much anyways. And then once it's in there and this guy's coming up, you just keep on tightening it down. I'm not sure what the foot-pounds are. I just used an impact wrench and like it was a tire, and I took it up until it, stopped moving. I didn't try to over tighten it, but it has to be tight because you don't want this guy finagling free and then moving around, cause all types of issues. And then once this guy is up in there, then you take your shock and you're going to slide it in to the hole right here, right? To the hole, Let's get a little more light in here. Actually, let's go to another view that's a little more simplified. Right here, here we go. And you're gonna just slide it in here. You wanna put just a couple of threads right here, depending on yours and where it's set up. Mine's a pain in the butt because the 9 inches larger, so it pulls these out and it's pretty much covering that nut right there. So then you're gonna slide your nut on there and then you are going to screw it. And as you screw it, it'll pull this whole guy this way as you screw it in, and then it'll eventually get tight. Now this right here, there's bushings that are right here, and there's a, should I make those bushings for you? No, it doesn't matter, but there's a bushing right here. So imagine a bushing right here, a rubber bushing, and then I'll have a big washer on the outside. You don't want to get this too tight. That was one of the things I messed up. Like, if you get it too tight, this guy right here, it needs to articulate like this. So if you get it too tight, it's going to bind. So you want to make sure that you use some type of, like, thread sealing compound, get it a tiny bit tight so the bushing has a little bit of tightness in there, but you don't want to get it so tight that it's binding this guy up. It's very important that this guy can move freely. And then after that, once you get it all tight and everything's back together, your leaf, helper leaf, is now removed, which is over here. And you have it effectively, let's get rid of these guys, pretend your car is going down. You've effectively lowered your car. And I will tell you from experience, after I did this, mine hooked up definitely better. But then it rained today, so I couldn't show you. So let's get to the conclusion. Okay, so we'll wrap up out here, out of the 3D world. And it's kind of hard to see. It's pretty nasty outside. I can't wait for this weather to end. But now the back sits a little bit lower than the front. Like I said, you probably can't see from this angle. I'll go over this in another video. But at least we got that out the way. Maybe you can see it better from this side. And no, you can't. But anyways, let me hurry up and wrap up this video because it's getting long. All right, so wrapping it up. Whenever the weather gets nice, it's been pretty freaking nasty lately. And I've been working, full time, so it's hard for me to get out here and get things done. But at least the helper leaf is removed from both sides. I set up my drag shocks in the back. I set them up as the rear as firm, like actually extra firm, the firmest one I could. Because when I was pulling them off, it's kind of hard to, to hear them click and all that. With three-way adjustables, I had the Comp Engineering three-way adjustables. And I was trying to click it, but I do know that they're on the firmest setting because they're the hardest to push in. So both the backs now are set to firm. And I think they were actually set on regular and firm when I was clicking it, just get an initial idea of where they were when they first put on, because I don't know where any of these shocks are set up. I have no clue. The front, I don't know. So the back is set up extra firm. I took it for a ride, and I apologize, guys. I didn't put this on video, but it did feel like it was hooking a good bit better with the Nittos. Nittos don't hook up very good at all, and they're actually holding pretty decently in second gear. So the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to put the 1-inch extended travel ball joints in the front, and then we'll reset up the shocks in the front also. And then hopefully, whenever the weather gets nicer, go to the track, we'll see if that will improve to 60 along with the gear I'm going to put in, which is the 430. So as long as it hooks, I think it's a 60 a lot better. That is the plan. Don't forget to subscribe, keep on wrenching, and peace.